Yes guys, what's going on? Welcome to AdamMcKola TV. This is the Weekly United, the place where we wrap up the world in the week of Manchester United, the biggest football club in the world, as the Sevilla manager this week confirmed as well. Strange comment before we head into a game with them. Well, I suppose it's not. It's just truth, isn't it? But that's not what we're here to talk about today. We have got updates on all things, including the Premier League, the FA Cup, Phil Jones and Twitter, Borussia Dortmund's Jadon Sancho, Barcelona's Dembele. We're talking Paul Pogba. We got some updates from Fabrizio Romano, Jesse Lingard's future. We have got loads to discuss here today on the Weekly United. So make sure you're keeping it locked. You're liking, commenting, sharing, subscribing as well, and joining too if you can. Of course, we also have regular live streams with the latest Manchester United news as well, and breaking news. When that comes through, we will of course be live. So make sure you're sticking to AdamMcKola TV and helping us hit 100,000 subscribers. But let's get stuck into the latest news. And as we can see here, confirmed by the Football Association, FA Cup replays have been scrapped for the 2020-2021 campaign. So there'll be no FA Cup replays throughout the whole tournament. The qualifying rounds will no longer have any replays, and also from round 3 when Manchester United enter, and it will be the usual time of the first week of January, there will be no replays for the club. Now I suppose that's good. It means no fixture pile-ups. You know what happens when you draw a game and you might have a European game coming up, and then you got to add an extra FA Cup game into the mix. With the way the fixtures are coming thick and fast, you can see why they have done this, and it may be the way forward for the whole FA Cup. I can see them possibly not going back on this one because the clubs may enjoy it. The only thing is the lower league clubs, you know, if they can get replays and things like that, the finances are massive for them. Some games, some TV games can just sort them out for the whole year ahead. So, you know, replays will be missed by many clubs, but the likes of Manchester United, I don't think will be too concerned by the fact that replays won't be going ahead in the FA Cup. And the Premier League have also announced the scheduled dates for 2020 and the 2021 campaign. Now, bearing in mind Manchester United and those who get into the latter stages of the European competitions, so Manchester City as well, will be given a break, a longer break than the restart, which is scheduled for September the 12th, and the season will run until May the 23rd, so a day after my birthday. Could we be lifting 21 around that time? It would be a great time to be alive, wouldn't it? But obviously the fixtures are now there and the schedule's there, and I think the fixtures will be coming very, very soon too. So we'll keep our eyes peeled for who we've got first, when the Liverpool City games and all those kind of things are, and what our running looks like. So this week, Twitter were forced into an apology to Phil Jones by Manchester United, who made a complaint with Twitter after they were showing off their new function where you can post tweets and have the ability to mean no one can reply to them at all. And they posted a tweet saying, name a better footballer than Phil Jones. And obviously what that's there to do is encourage a pile-on on that player, or not even a pile-on of a player, but that's what will happen. Twitter should know this, because obviously they're a company that apparently is anti-bullying and all those kind of things, and yet they're encouraging these kind of pile-ons for footballers. Now, we know Phil Jones earns a lot of money. We know Phil Jones hasn't fulfilled his massive career. But I like that Manchester United fans came out in defence of him, and Manchester United came out in defence of him as well. It's like, we can take the piss, but you guys can't. Come on. And you know, the Phil Jones faces, they're funny. He finds them funny too. But I think there comes to a point where the ridicule goes too far. This is ultimately someone that had massive potential and hasn't been able to live up to that for whatever reason. You could say injuries, bad luck, poor form, whatever. But that must be quite hard for him to take mentally. And then see, you know, people like Twitter actively encouraging these things. I suppose he can take it from, you know, football fans, and he probably expects it from football fans. But from people like that, it's just uncalled for, really, isn't it? So I totally supported United's response to Twitter and forcing them to come out and apologise as well. Good stuff, United. Man United are eyeing Barcelona's Dembele as a Sancho alternative. This is according to sources to ESPN, who say Manchester United are targeting Dembele as a potential signing. Now, 90 million euros is how much Barcelona want, and this is a player that's had his injury issues in the last 12 months, hasn't played football for a while, he's had a lot of time out, and they're big injuries, do you know what I mean? And for United to then be going in at 90 million euros potentially for a player that has had his injury worries. No matter how good he's been and how good his potential is and all that kind of thing, it would be a massive risk, and it just wouldn't make 90 million euros for Dembele, who's had massive injuries and is maybe his stock has dropped, or 120 million euros for Jadon Sancho. It's a no-brainer, really. And I just think these kind of things are coming out because Manchester United are briefing that we are looking at alternatives in order to make Borussia Dortmund sweat. But it doesn't look like we are making Borussia Dortmund sweat. Borussia Dortmund have come out and said they want Jadon Sancho to publicly say he will stay at the club next season. And we've seen in the Tier 1 podcast on Stretford Paddock that Fabrizio Romano has been saying that talks are ongoing. Manchester United want to make the deal happen. They're still on the case, and despite talks that, you know, it's off and it's not going to happen, there's still plenty of time for that to happen. So it looks like the club are still pushing for a deal, but it feels similar to the Harry Maguire ones, the Aaron Wan-Bissaka ones. We heard alternatives to Harry Maguire, we heard alternatives to Aaron Wan-Bissaka, but they were never really anything there. They were a smokescreen in order to try and get the prices down. What did we do ultimately? We paid the asking price for both players, 80 million for Harry Maguire, 50 million for Aaron Wan-Bissaka. And I kind of feel like that will be the case here with Jadon Sancho. United need to try and structure a deal. That's what they're working on. And it's how much we give them up front. But ultimately, we're going to have to come to that £100 million, £108 million mark that Borussia Dortmund want, whether it's a structured deal or not. Now, I understand United trying to pay less at this moment in time, because if we pay less, that means we've got more to spend on other signings and other possible signings elsewhere. I know we hear talk about Chris Smalling potentially leaving in a 20 million plus deal, and other players potentially leaving. Diogo Dalot and Con. You can raise some funds through them. Alexis Sanchez coming off the wage bill was massive. But also we need to keep the funds available. If we wanted to get Jack Grealish, say, or a Donny van der Beek or a centre half, we're going to need to have the funds there in the bank. And United aren't going to want to give up most of their transfer budget for this summer all to Borussia Dortmund now for Jadon Sancho. So that's probably why they're trying to get this deal down. And we know the player wants to leave. Dortmund are wanting Sancho to say he'll publicly stay. He hasn't done that yet. And I'm sure United will be trying to push for him to hand in a transfer request. Hopefully the latter is the one that comes. Fabrizio also confirmed in the interview with the Tier 1 transfer podcast on Paddock that Paul Pogba was expecting Manchester United contract talks once the Europa League campaign has concluded. And now, obviously, if we get knocked out this Sunday by Sevilla, then that'll be then. But hopefully we're in the competition for a little bit longer and we're playing in the final. And then we can get Paul Pogba. Imagine winning a trophy, kind of putting this year behind us of where Pogba's had injuries and his worries, and you know there's been doubts over his future at the club, and to help Ole Gunnar Solskjaer lift his first trophy would be a massive boost, and to sign a contract after that as well. I mean, you're looking to guarantee Paul Pogba being at the club for the best years of his career, and he's the kind of player we need in this team. With the likes of Bruno, Rashford, Marshall, Mason Greenwood, the future would be massive. It'd be bright, and we just need to fix everything else around it, get a little bit of depth in there, and we're good to go. So credit to Ole Gunnar Solskjaer for turning things around with Paul Pogba. I think he's made Paul Pogba believe, you know, he has a future here. This is the place to play football. Look, it's an enthusiastic environment for footballers to want to be playing in. Jadon Sancho wants to come. So you can see why players will want to stay at Man United. And we know there's other reasons for this as well, possibly Real or Juve not having the funds, but Paul Pogba signing that contract is all we want right now, and it looks like it could be happening very, very soon. Something that we kind of don't know what's going on at the moment now is Jesse Lingard's future now. Ole Gunnar Solskjaer wants Jesse Lingard to stay, say Sky Sports, but cannot give the midfielder reassurances over playing time. After Jesse Lingard played against Lask, scoring a goal in that game, I asked him, is that your last game at Old Trafford? He said no chance. So he clearly wants to stay at Manchester United. Ole Gunnar Solskjaer likes him, wants him to stay, be a part of the squad, but he has to be guaranteed first team football, and it's what he wants. There was a time when Nicky Butt thought, actually, I need to leave to get first team football, to play regularly for someone. And Jesse Lingard might think that. I hope he wants to stay at Manchester United and hopefully be part of a team that a squad that brings the league title back. I think he can be a hugely influential player from the bench, in the squad, you know, coming into games here and there. I don't think he will be starting 11 when you've got everyone fit and you're potentially signing Jadon Sancho and you've got Bruno, Pogba and all. He's not going to start. And that's where it comes down to him. Do you want to go play regularly week in, week out, or do you want to stay at Man United, fight for a spot, and hopefully be part of a squad that wins trophies? Because that will be his dream. He's won the Europa League, the FA Cup, the League Cup for United. You know, he's won everything but the big two. And I'm sure he's dreamt of doing that at Manchester United. So it'll be an interesting summer ahead. What will happen with Jesse Lingard? I personally, if, you know, we're selling the likes of Mata and Andreas and Jesse Lingard and that, he'd be the one that I would keep out of all those guys. So, yeah, his future is still up in the air though, although Ollie wants him to stay, and he wants him to stay. Anyway, let us know what you thought about all of the things that we have discussed today. Paul Pogba's future, Jadon Sancho, Ousmane Dembele, Jesse Lingard, the FA Cup having no replays, and of course the Premier League returning very, very soon as well. Let us know what you thought about all those things in the comments below. Make sure you're keeping it liking, commenting, sharing, subscribing, joining if you can as well. But for now, this has been the Weekly United. I've been AdamMcKola. I'm out.